What? Don't tell me. It's Saturday again? I'm telling you. Time. It's crazy. It's just crazy. It's 5:30 p.m. Friday. And I haven't done much on my puzzle since last week, but if you can see this, I mean, look at this piece here. All here is growing. There's my truck. All you can see is the front grille. There's that. And then over here I've got the this is the gas pump over here, and this is part of the porch on the house. But you know, it's so much like the Word. I can't. I'm amazed, you know, that Abba had me do this, because the wonderful thing, I had forgotten what an unusual experience working on a puzzle is. There's nothing like it. In all the earth, there's nothing like it. You know, when you get a big section like this together, it really means a lot to you. That there's so much memory about, oh, this one went, that one went. Oh, look, this is connecting up here over to the building, and there's the roof of the house. You know, you start becoming more and more familiar with your puzzle. You start becoming more and more familiar with Elohim's way of pitching his tent with you. You start becoming more and more familiar with his voice in your life. It starts becoming more real to you. It starts making more sense. It's certainly something very, very personal. And, you know, like I said, it just keeps growing. And, you know, I said last week, there's no edges, there's no corners. It just keeps going and going and going. The pieces get smaller and more detailed, and it gets bigger and bigger, and it goes on and on and on. And the joy that you experience, the familiarity that you join yourself to with the whole process is a matter of chavar. And it never ends. And you know, when I said last week it never ends, I mean eternally, forever and ever and ever and ever. Our garnering the depths of the Father's Word never ends, ever. That's no joke. And it's a matter of chavar. If you haven't seen last Thursday's video, watch it. If you have seen it, watch it again and see how much is there that you didn't see or hear last time. But that word chavar means friend in Aramaic, Hebrew. Chavari means my friend. Chavarim is my many friends. But it's another example, Chavarim, my friends, of why I do what I do with delivering the Father's Word and taking key words and teaching you the original Aramaic Hebrew words, because this is a great example of what Hashatan, Satan, has done with the Father's Word by interpreting it into all the other languages on earth. First of all, who could argue? Geez, we'll interpret the Bible into French, so all the French people can read it. English, all the Of course, we want everybody to know his word, right? Oh, Satan loved that one because he takes chavar and he says, oh, that means, friend. 2,000 years ago or more, they knew what it meant. And even the Greek interpretations of the Father's word, that's way more cool than any other language, because the Greek is extremely precise and it grabs onto things. Unfortunately, after 2,000 years, we come to, let's say, the past 300 years. I don't think people have had Bibles in their homes for more than that. It used to be illegal. It used to be impossible to get a copy or make a copy unless you're a millionaire. But these past 300, maybe even 400 years, people have had Bibles. They could read them. Oh man, Satan has had his game in full play. Because what's a friend today? Today we have Facebook. How many friends? How many? Isn't that what Facebook is all about? How many friends do you? You have 2,000 friends? Listen, they're not your friends. Chavar does not mean friend the way we think with our westernized concepts, and all of, even the Aramaic Hebrew dictionaries. You look up chavar, it says friend. That's been messed with, man. It's been brought into the Western mindset. What's Western? It's away from East. It's away from where the sun rose. It's into darkness. You go more and more into the West, you go more and more into darkness. The Western mindset says a friend is like, anybody. I met that guy once. Oh, that's my friend Bob. I know his name, so he's my friend. Not in Abba, Father, Yahweh's way. Not in the way. Nobody's your chavar unless they are bound to you. You look at last Thursday's study and listen to all the concepts behind chavar. It's a matter of being in absolute agreement with each other, with oneness, echad, being echad in your relationship, being bound to each other. It's a great depth of a oneness in a relationship. I guess it was in last Thursday's video I mentioned it, or maybe it was in last week's Sitting in the Word. You have the parable of the 10 virgins, and 5 of them didn't have enough oil. They didn't have enough of the filling of the ruach, the spirit, so they had to go away and get more. And while they were gone, the bridegroom came. The 5 maidens who were prepared and had extra oil, the filling of the ruach, they went in the door with the groom to, the wedding. The other 5 came back, and they were banging on the door. Oh, Adon, Adon, let us in. And he said to them, go away from me, I never knew you. And that when he says I never knew you, it's the same word from Genesis where it says Adam knew Eve and they had children. It's a reference to a great intimacy. You and I were never intimate together. Chavar, you're not my chavar. To be my chavar, you have to be intimately bound to me and everything I stand for, and I to you and everything you stand for. We are one in everything we do. So, today it's just like you don't even have physical friendships. They're all electronic friendships on Facebook. How many friends Satan wants you to think you have a lot of friends. Yahweh looks at that and he says, you don't have one, none of them are intimate with you. None of them know you. These things come up as you put your pieces of your puzzle together in revelation, melta, rhema of Abba's word comes into your being, and the puzzle keeps becoming more and more precious. I know a couple of you have gone out and gotten puzzles, 2,000 piece puzzles. This is only 300, so your pieces are a lot smaller. And you're seeing, it's an amazing experience. It's really wonderful, really something wonderful. Well, I spoke with, there's something else I wanted to, I guess not. I spoke with Mark Paladino. He called me last night. And it was a most exciting phone call. First of all, he just called me because he took the tapes to the lab where they're going to, bake the ones that need baking and transfer them all to a hard drive. It's probably going to take a week and a half from now to 2 weeks from now. We'll know what we have, and we'll be able to hear what we have. That's just step one. But he also told me that he had 14 tapes. And while we were talking on the phone, the guy at the lab called Mark, which he said that the fact that he called me while I was talking to you was amazing enough. But he had two things to say. Number one was, he says, this is very listenable material. That's something that means a whole lot to Mark and I. It's confirming, what we remember. But he was impressed, and this guy, he's used to being numb to his projects. He's doing this all day long, and tapes over here. He has to do it in real time, so he has to listen to everything. You do that 8 hours a day and see how long it takes for you to not really be listening, just to know that the levels are right and you're getting your job done. He got caught off guard and started listening and was enjoying what he heard. The other thing that really had me and Mark going, we must have been talking for about an hour about this one. He has one 7-inch tape. He says, but this one's really weird because it was recorded at 3.5 IPS. That's like the slowest speed there is. Pretty poor quality, but the tape will run for, a couple of hours. And he says, and there's stuff on both sides. Well, after a lot of storytelling, memories coming out, one being me being on stage at the Troubadour. If you have my book, Road to Paradise, there's pictures of me. I think I was 17. And I'm on stage at the Troubadour playing my guitar that I still have here. And we were thinking this tape, it could be, because Troubadour has good recording facility there, we may have run the tape out on both sides and recorded a whole night. Well, I wound up, telling Mark, I says, I was at the Troubadour, I performed there quite a lot. It's pretty much like my room. And I was there pretty much every weekend, and I guess through the week, during the week too sometimes. But one night, I was on stage, and I was doing my set, and Jim Morrison came in the back door. Behind everybody, nobody could see him except me. And he stood at the back wall right in front of me. He put one foot up against the wall, his knee, bent. His head was down, and he was just listening. He listened to my entire set, and I mean, that was a precious thing, Jim Morrison. I performed to Jim Morrison live, and he was digging it. Well, that night, I wound up being there until they were closing. There was nobody left but me and the bartender and maybe one other guy. Jim Morrison used to go upstairs in the back. They had a room up there, and there was a balcony. And I guess he went up there, maybe, I don't know, crash out or something like that. This guy came running in the back door. It's after hours. Everybody's gone except for me and the bartender. And this guy's yelling because Jim Morrison was hanging by his neck off of the balcony. He tried to hang himself. Didn't do a very good job because he was hanging by his neck, but he wasn't choking at all. I mean, he's just hanging there. I guess he passed out. They rushed to get him down. I just went home. I said, Jim Morrison, whatever. It's late. I'm going home. The bartender and the other guy took care of Jim. But Mark brought something up. He says, he was listening to your set. Maybe your talent was so great that he depressed him and he went upstairs and tried to kill himself. I says, Mark, honestly, that thought never occurred to me. Anyway, we're laughing, having a good time. We're thinking, boy, this might be, the Troubadour. We don't know. We just had a wonderful conversation. And, now I know he's got 14 tapes. The guy's working on them. It's like Christmas, and now here comes New Year's. So, he's working on them. He's not doing a rush job, so it costs us less money. And he should be done maybe the first or second week of January. So, and boy, I'm telling you, Mark, he has a lot of ideas. And we were just like vamping on, what we can do. There's so many ways of presenting musical projects today that are just not only that we're able to do them differently than 50 years ago. That's where these tapes started, half a century ago, my friends. But also people's interests. It's different, So we're just vamping on some ideas about how we might do some things. One idea that I have is that we make it kind of a biographical thing about Mark and I, two young kids starting out together, chasing the music. We didn't know anything about what we were doing. We were total virgins to the whole process, and we learned it together, and it grew. And we were together for 8-9 years. That's, a lot of rock and roll bands don't stay together that long. So maybe we could present it that way, like I do with the Matan CD, where I sit down and I tell you the personal stories behind the songs, why I wrote them. Well, maybe me and Mark can do that and share our memories. I don't know, we're just praying on it. And, if we're here long enough to complete this project, we'll see. Anyway, that's that. The other thing that's going on is, I think this week on Thursday, I'm going to do a personal live stream. Because I have some ideas that I wanted to achieve that I didn't see going on with the live stream we did with Adam's Parable in the Vineyard production last week. Not to fault anything about that. He's still working it out, but there were 400 people in the chat area, and none of them were recognized. I went there for them, and even though the 5 of us guys had a great time and it was a lot of fun, and people enjoyed it, I thought, no. If you listen to last Thursday's video, which I had everybody listen to, the 5 guys, before we went on live, I said, you have to listen to this. This is where my heart is. We want a fellowship, but we want to feed Yeshua's lambs. That's my whole thing. And so this Thursday, I figure it might just be me. Who knows? Paul from Zeus Mossbender, you might pop in, or maybe Christopher or Maskey, because the three of us are pretty tight. And I'm going to leave just an open door for them if they want to pop in anytime. A half hour after I start, the end, whatever. Leave it to the Ruach. I think it would be more fun that way. But we might just do a question and answer, or we might do a particular study, a particular book and chapter. I have no idea. But to do it live, and caregiver is a girl. My affectionate nickname for her is Little Girl. And she's my assistant. So I thought, this is great, Little Girl. You can be Ed McMahon and I'll be Johnny Carson, She is going to gather some questions up before we go live, the early part of the week. And also when we go live, she's going to be in charge of the chat area and, finding the ones that look cool. And then she'll tell me, oh, Alan, we have, so-and-so is here and they have this question. And I'll take the question so that it's me and the flock are fully interacting with each other. That's what I want to do. We'll see how that turns out. I'm pretty excited about it, and pray on it. You can rest assured I will be. And oh look, this goes up here. Look at that. That goes to that piece, and I recognized it. Seems like every time I shoot, you get at least one piece in, and that's cool because this puzzle can go together too quick. It's only 300 pieces. So a lot of really cool things going on. This thing about doing the live stream and really having a live. I want us to fellowship. It's nice to put out a video and, so many people watch it every week, but nobody's watching it together at the same time. Where this way, we're all going to be together at the same time. And this piece goes somewhere that's recognizable. And that's what's so exciting about this. Anyway, it's been a busy week. I've had so much going on. I need to just chill the rest of the night. It's Friday night, and we're supposed to be getting 2 inches of snow tomorrow. The temperatures are insane. I have no memory of New Jersey ever being down in the single digit temperatures, Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Fahrenheit, at night, the coldest period of the night. That's happened before, maybe for a day or two, a cold front blew through. But this thing is going on for 2 weeks. I've never seen that. And so it's pretty cold out there, man. I'm getting old, Even if I take the garbage out to the dumpster and back, I'm breathing like I climbed a mountain, This old body has seen its day, my friends. Another thing Mark and I were talking about, he says, Alan, he says, your voice is still there. He says, well, maybe we should record some new things. I haven't played my guitar, 7 years. But let me tell you something. If we were going in the recording studio tonight and I performed some songs, my guitar playing would manifest as though I had been practicing and learning new things for for the past 7 years. I've experienced it before. There were times where I didn't play my guitar for 2-3 years. I picked it up, I started writing songs, and I was doing left-hand techniques that I had never done before. I'm telling you, this is what it means to have a matan, a gift. Elohim, you know, gives me a gift. I do things that my guitar playing was advanced after not playing for long periods of time. And also, my voice is still young and strong. Hey man, I'm an old man. I mean, come on, February I'm going to be 67. That's old. I don't have the wind that I had when I was younger and smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. See, maybe if I could have been smoking cigarettes, I'd still have that wind. You know, some cigarettes never, I could hold a note from here till next month. And taking drags in between. But nowadays, I don't have the breath, I don't have the wind. My lung capacity is less, maybe because I haven't been singing. And I think the cigarettes never got in the way because I was singing hours every day. My lungs were being cleaned more than the cigarettes could dirty them back then. Anyway, you know, we talked about that. Honestly, I have zero interest in music for the past 7 years. Really, for the past almost 10 years. And maybe, well, no, I was playing my instruments for a while back then. But for the past 7 years, my interest has fully been on developing my skills, making videos and delivering the Father's Word the way He intended. And there's been a lot of growth, as you know, my friends, in that area. But my interest in music, in terms of writing and performing, has been zero. I have no problem with that at all. It's just I don't feel the calling. That could change overnight. Who knows? We'll see what goes on with me and Mark. And if it does, I have no compunctions about that either. I mean, I'll go in the studio tonight and bang out a song and knock everybody's socks off. It's what I do. Didn't Betty say that recently? That's what I do. Howdy, y'all. Anyway, what else do I have to say? Can't wait to hear from Mark. He's supposed to call me tonight because he's going to be going in and talking to the guy with those tapes. He might have some more information. Whew. This is quite a trip for me. And you, my friends, will all have access to all of these songs, MP3 downloads, free of charge. Anyway, let's call that a walk in the Word. I need to just get my feet up and relax a little bit for the rest of the night. I'll probably be going to bed in a couple hours, maybe 8 o'clock. But I love you, my friends. I'm glad you're here. I love your comments. I read every single one of them. I don't miss a one. I might not, respond, but I read each and every one, and they're all important to me, as all of you are. I think you know that. Anyway, until next week. Keep your wicks trimmed. Keep your lamps ablaze. Shalom, Chavarim.